Friends of Islam, this time the Islamic faith is back before you to share Islamic information. I hope it inspires your activities today, and don't forget to click the subscribe button and activate the bell button notifications so you don't miss the latest news from the Islamic Faith channel. In the heart of the Balkan Peninsula, Macedonia has a long history of Islam. Although the country is predominantly Orthodox Christian, several small villages with Muslim populations still survive, testifying to centuries of civilization. One fascinating place to explore are the Islamic villages in Western Macedonia, such as Tetovo, Gostivar, and Debar, inhabited by Muslim Albanians, Turks, and also the Torbeš ethnic group, a Slavic people who embraced Islam.
Okay. Can you please say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. Alhamdulillah. Takbir. Takbir.
Islam arrived in Macedonia in the 14th century, brought by the Ottoman Empire. Its traces are clearly visible in the ancient mosques that still stand majestically today. For example, the Sharina Jamija, Cat Mosque, in Tetovo, with its colorful paintings on its walls, has become an icon of Islam in the region. Islam in Macedonia feels like a throwback to the past. Narrow cobblestone streets, traditional houses with red roofs, and the call to prayer echoing from the small minarets create a peaceful atmosphere. In the village markets, we can find a unique atmosphere. Vendors selling traditional bread, spices, honey, and even woven fabrics. While men sit in coffee shops discussing, women prepare traditional dishes like burek, a bread filled with meat or cheese, and sweet baklava. The Muslim community in Macedonia still maintains Islamic traditions closely. Congregational prayers, Eid al-Fitr celebrations, and Islamic wedding rituals are carried out with great solemnity. They also maintain local customs, creating a beautiful blend of Balkan and Islamic culture. Islam in Macedonia is not just a tourist destination, but also a spiritual experience. We can see how Islam has managed to survive amidst the dominance of other religions, while also becoming a bridge for peace between ethnic groups in the Balkans. Today, we are witnessing a new phenomenon. Islam is thriving here. From Muslim villages in Tetovo, Gostivar, and Debar, Islamic life continues to thrive. Younger generations fill mosques, study the Quran, and maintain traditions passed down from their ancestors. Islam is no longer just an identity, it is now an increasingly influential social force. The Muslim community is growing in numbers, education, and economics. Demographic data shows that the Muslim population is growing faster than any other group. Therefore, many observers believe that in the future, Islam will become the largest religion in Macedonia. This is a major change born of the faith, patience, and unwavering prayers of the people. This is Macedonia, a place where the light of Islam continues to grow, illuminating the country and poised to become a major force in the future. In Macedonia, the light of Islam continues to shine. From small villages, the call to prayer echoes, revitalizing the hearts of the younger generation. Islam is growing rapidly here. More and more mosques are filled with worshipers, more and more souls are returning to the Quran, and if Allah wills, Islam will become the largest religion in this country. This is Macedonia, a country preparing to welcome the future with the light of Islam. In Macedonia, the development of Islam is growing rapidly year after year. Mosques that were once only filled with a select few are now bustling with worshipers from various backgrounds. A striking phenomenon is the increasing number of people starting to study Islam. They were attracted by the simple, peaceful, and in harmony with human nature Islamic teachings. From simply studying, many of them discovered the true truth, ultimately reciting the Shahada and officially embracing Islam. Every week, news of people reciting the Shahada increases, creating a vibrant Islamic atmosphere in Macedonia. Many young people are also actively engaging in discussions, reading translations of the Quran, and attending religious gatherings. They feel a new sense of calm after converting to Islam, and this enthusiasm spreads to their families and social circles. Seeing these developments, observers believe that Islam is reaching its peak of growth in Macedonia. With the increasing rate of converts, many believe that Islam will soon become the largest religion in the country. Now, the atmosphere in Macedonia is truly changing. More and more homes can hear the recitation of the Quran. Islamic schools are flourishing, and small mosques are always filled with seekers of truth. In every corner of the city, new shining faces can be seen. Those who once lived aimlessly now feel at peace after embracing Islam. Their hearts feel as if they've found a true home. Even some community leaders who were once opposed are now beginning to open up. They've witnessed firsthand how Islam brings goodness, uniting families, improving the morals of young people, and fostering a sense of genuine brotherhood. This phenomenon has shocked religious observers in Europe. How is it possible that, amidst the tide of secularism, Islam emerges as a light that captivates the hearts of people? The answer is simple. Because Islam is a natural religion, a religion that aligns with the deepest human instincts. Day by day, the number of converts continues to grow. One person takes the Shahada, then invites his family. A young man converts to Islam, then inspires his friends. This wave grows stronger, eventually becoming an unstoppable current. Many believe that soon Islam will stand as the largest religion in Macedonia. And when that day comes, the world will witness that Allah's promise is always true, that His light will never be extinguished, despite many attempts to extinguish it. In remote villages, people are also starting to return to Islam in droves. Small children innocently recite the letters of the Hijaya alphabet, while their parents smile with emotion. This new generation is growing with a strong Islamic identity, becoming the successors of a future Renaissance. This phenomenon marks a major change in Macedonia. What was once considered impossible is now a reality. Islam is growing rapidly, captivating anyone seeking the truth. And with the growing number of converts, it is increasingly clear that Islam will soon become the largest religion in the country. The lives of Muslims in Macedonia are now increasingly vibrant and colorful. They live their days with renewed enthusiasm, as if sensing that this is the time for Islam to revive in their country. In the morning, the call to prayer, Adhan, reverberates from mosques scattered throughout the villages and towns. This sound is not only a call to prayer, but also a symbol of the community's growing Muslim identity. Muslims perform congregational prayers, then continue with their daily activities, some working in the fields, trading in the markets, and even pursuing jobs in the big cities. Their lives are simple, yet filled with togetherness. In the afternoon, the mosques are once again bustling with children learning to read the Quran. Parents wholeheartedly support this, as they want the new generation to grow up with a stronger understanding of Islam. Within their community, Muslims in Macedonia are known for their friendliness and solidarity. They help each other through hardships, maintain the tradition of mutual cooperation, and celebrate Islamic holidays with joy. Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, for example, are significant moments that unite hearts, even attracting the attention of non-Muslim neighbors who share in the warmth of the atmosphere. Despite sometimes facing challenges from secularism and cultural differences, Muslims remain steadfast. They believe that their identity is not a barrier, but rather a strength for building a better future. With the growing number of converts, life for Muslims here is increasingly filled with enthusiasm, optimism, and the belief that Islam is a light that will illuminate the entire country. Behind the rapid growth of Islam in Macedonia, major challenges are also unavoidable. One of these is the rise of Islamophobia from some groups concerned about the rise of Muslims. Some media outlets try to portray Islam negatively, and some politicians even use religious issues for their own gain. Some mosques have faced pressure, and some Muslims have experienced minor discrimination, especially in areas with a non-Muslim majority. What is interesting, however, is the response of Muslims in Macedonia. They don't respond with hatred, but rather with good morals, patience, and gentle preaching. It's precisely this attitude that makes many people curious, and ultimately, they want to learn more about Islam. In fact, whenever the issue of Islamophobia arises, there's always a beautiful story behind it. Some initially hated it, but after interacting with Muslims, their hearts change. Others initially believed negative propaganda, but after learning more about Islam, they chose to convert. With the patience and steadfastness of Muslims, the shadow of Islamophobia is slowly eroding. Now more and more Macedonians are realizing that Islam is not a threat, but rather a blessing for all. Despite the challenges of Islamophobia, religious life in Macedonia is generally characterized by a high level of tolerance. In many cities, Muslims and non-Muslims live side by side peacefully. They work together, live as neighbors, and help each other in daily life. For example, when Muslims celebrate Eid al-Adha, their non-Muslim neighbors share in the blessings of the sacrificial meat they share. Likewise, when there are local traditional celebrations, Muslims still respect their neighbors. Muslim and non-Muslim children often attend the same school, study together, and become friends regardless of their differences in faith. This is evidence that amidst the rise of Islam, tolerance continues to grow. In fact, it is not uncommon for religious leaders from various communities to hold dialogues to foster mutual understanding. The goal is clear: to create a peaceful Macedonian atmosphere, where differences are not barriers but rather a source of cultural richness. This is what has strengthened the development of Islam in Macedonia. Despite challenges, Muslims can still live in harmony with other communities, maintain social harmony, and demonstrate that Islam is a religion that brings peace. One clear sign of the rise of Islam in Macedonia is the large number of mosques in the country. Since the Ottoman era, Macedonia has been known as one of the Balkan regions with a large number of mosques. To this day, traces of this history remain intact. In the capital city of Skopje alone, dozens of mosques stand majestically. Some are hundreds of years old, such as the Mustafa Pasha Mosque, built in the 15th century. This ancient mosque serves not only as a place of worship, but also as a symbol of the Islamic civilization that once flourished in this region. In addition to large cities, mosques are also found in small villages. Nearly every Muslim village has a mosque, whether simple or large, with beautiful domes and minarets. When the call to prayer, adhan, sounds, its sound echoes from one minaret to another, creating a peaceful and moving atmosphere. Today, many mosques are once again filled with worshippers. Renovations and construction of new mosques are ongoing, as the number of Muslims and converts to Islam grows. Mosques are not only places of prayer, but also centers of social activity, places where children learn the Quran, young people discuss issues, and the community supports one another. With so many mosques standing strong, it is clear that Islam is becoming deeply rooted in Macedonia. These mosques are living witnesses to the revival of the Muslim community and are a beacon of light that will illuminate the future of this country. Muslims in Macedonia live side by side with other religious communities, especially Orthodox Christians, who make up the majority in the country. In their daily lives, they adapt with wisdom and mutual respect. In the workplace, Muslims work alongside non-Muslim colleagues without any significant differences. They maintain good morals, are disciplined, and demonstrate a strong work ethic, making their presence accepted in various fields. When prayer time arrives, most local residents are accustomed to seeing Muslims performing their prayers, fostering a sense of mutual understanding. In their neighborhood life, Muslims build harmonious relationships. They continue to participate in community social activities, such as traditional celebrations or community service events, while adhering to religious principles. This maintains close relationships between Muslims and non-Muslims, without creating a deep divide. Muslims in Macedonia are also adept at maintaining communication. They are open, friendly, and do not close themselves off from interaction. It is precisely through this attitude that many non-Muslims see Islam as a religion that brings peace. It is from these daily interactions that many stories of people who were ultimately drawn to Islam and chose to declare their faith, Shahada. By adapting in this way, respecting differences, maintaining good morals, and setting a good example, Muslims in Macedonia are not only able to live peacefully with the majority of other religions, but are also gradually revealing the true face of Islam, a blessing for all creation. Ramadan in Macedonia is a time of beauty and peace. Although Muslims here live side by side with a majority of other religions, the atmosphere of the holy month remains very calm and soothing. As evening approaches, the aroma of typical Ramadan foods wafts from Muslim homes. In both cities and villages, people prepare simple yet blessed dishes. When the call to prayer sounds, families gather to break their fast with joyful smiles. Mosques become the center of Ramadan life. Worshippers fill the rows for Taraweeh prayers, and even mosques, usually deserted on weekdays, feel alive again. The recitation of verses from the Quran echoes through the night, bringing a serenity that is difficult to describe. In small villages, the atmosphere of Ramadan becomes even more intense. After Taraweeh prayers, residents gather in the mosque courtyards, sharing stories over warm tea. Children play happily, while parents remind them of the meaning of patience and kindness. For new converts to Islam, Ramadan is an extraordinary spiritual experience. They feel that fasting is not just about holding back hunger, but also brings them closer to Allah and strengthens brotherhood with fellow Muslims. The beauty of Ramadan in Macedonia makes this month not only an act of worship, but also a symbol of the revival of Islam. From mosques filled with worshippers, from the simple pre-dawn meal, suhoor, to the solemn Taraweeh prayers, all are signs that Islam is becoming more deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. When Ramadan ends, the most anticipated day arrives, Eid al-Fitr. In Macedonia, the atmosphere of Eid al-Fitr is warm and joyful. From dawn, Muslims fill mosques and open fields to perform Eid prayers. Worshippers arrive in their best attire, beaming with joy and hearts filled with gratitude. The atmosphere is truly moving, as not only longtime Muslims, but also new converts to Islam join in this touching celebration. After prayers, they embrace one another and sincerely wish Eid Mubarak. Regardless of age or background, everyone is immersed in a warm sense of camaraderie. In homes, dining tables are filled with special dishes, from traditional cakes to simple meals made with love. Non-Muslim neighbors are often invited to taste the fruit, making Eid al-Fitr not only a Muslim celebration, but also a moment of togetherness that strengthens tolerance. For children, Eid al-Fitr is a day filled with joy. They run around happily, receiving small gifts or pocket money from parents and relatives. For parents, Eid al-Fitr is a time to reflect on the struggles of fasting for a full month and an opportunity to strengthen relationships with family and the community. Eid al-Fitr in Macedonia is not just a celebration, but a tangible demonstration of the resurgence of Islam. From the solemn congregational prayers to the touching smiles of converts, to the warmth of friendship that transcends religious boundaries, all are signs that the light of Islam is shining brighter in this country. A few months after Eid al-Fitr, Muslims in Macedonia celebrate another major holiday, Eid al-Adha. The atmosphere of the celebration is no less lively, often even more solemn, imbued with a spirit of sacrifice. From early morning, worshippers flock to mosques and open fields to perform Eid prayers. A solemn atmosphere was felt as the takbir, Islamic call to prayer, resounded throughout the towns and villages. After the prayer, the slaughter of the sacrificial animals began. Cows, goats, and sheep were slaughtered with gratitude, following the teachings of Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, who willingly sacrificed out of love for Allah. What made the atmosphere even more beautiful was the community's togetherness. Parents, youth, and children participated in the sacrifice process in a spirit of mutual cooperation. The sacrificial meat was then distributed not only to Muslims, but also to non-Muslim neighbors. This was a tangible demonstration of tolerance and caring that has earned Islam greater respect in Macedonia. Many have experienced the benefits of Eid al-Adha, making this occasion a bridge for strengthening interfaith brotherhood. In the villages, Eid al-Adha is a day of joy. Children cheered with joy as they watched the slaughtering procession and helped wrap the meat for distribution. Meanwhile, mothers prepared special dishes, which were then enjoyed with the extended family and guests. Eid al-Adha in Macedonia is not just a ritual, but also evidence that the Muslim community here is growing stronger, more united, and increasingly accepted within the wider community. The spirit of sacrifice, solidarity, and compassion emanating from Eid al-Adha symbolizes that Islam is a religion that brings blessings to all beings. Macedonia has one of the largest Muslim populations in Europe. According to official government statistics, the number of Muslims in Macedonia in 2002 reached more than 702,000, or approximately 35% of the country's total population. Therefore, Islam is the second largest religion in Macedonia after Orthodox Christianity. Muslims living in Macedonia generally come from diverse ethnic and cultural backgrounds. Some of these include Albanians, Turks, Romani, Bosniaks, and indigenous Macedonians. The Albanian community is the most dominant Muslim ethnic group in Macedonia, numbering more than 500,000. Most of them live in the Polog region and the western part of the country. Meanwhile, the indigenous Macedonian Muslim population is estimated to range between 40,000 and 100,000. They are generally descendants of Orthodox Christians who converted to Islam centuries ago when the Ottoman Empire ruled the Balkans, Yar Khalifat explained in his research. Popular beliefs among the Macedonian Turks, Turkmens, Torbešes, Turkbashis, Chenkaris, and Yuriks. According to records, the percentage of Macedonia's Muslim population had shrunk from 36.76% in 1904 to 24.05% in 1961. However, since 1971, that figure has increased again, bringing the number of Muslims in the country to 35%. Furthermore, Islam is projected to become the majority religion in Macedonia by 2050. Dear friends of the Islamic faith, Islamic teachings began to penetrate Macedonia along with the conquests carried out by the Ottoman Empire in the late 14th century AD. Macedonia, then part of the Serbian Empire, was successfully conquered by the Ottoman Empire without resistance from the Serbian rulers, whose power was already weakening. Since then, Islam has grown and flourished in Macedonia. During the Ottoman Empire's control of the Balkans, a massive process of Islamization occurred. Many of Macedonia's native Slavs converted from Orthodox Christianity to Islam. The Ottoman government's discriminatory policies regarding Muslims and non-Muslims contributed to this conversion. The Ottoman government imposed a jizya tax on non-Muslims in lieu of the annual zakat payment required of Muslims. This jizya tax was levied as a form of security and protection provided by the state to its non-Muslim residents. However, many native Macedonians were dissatisfied with Ottoman rule. This later sparked a rebellion against the Ottoman rulers in Macedonia in 1689. This event became known as the Karpash Rebellion. The collapse of Ottoman rule in the Balkans resulted in a decline in the Muslim population of Macedonia. While the Muslim population in Macedonia was estimated at 27,000 before World War II, censuses conducted in subsequent years showed a sharp decline. In 1953, the Muslim population in Macedonia was estimated at only 1,591, and in 1961, this number increased to 3,002. By 1981, the number had risen to 39,355. Most Macedonian Muslims are concentrated in the western and eastern regions bordering Albania. Muslim communities can also be found in the Center Zupa area. However, Muslims living in this region are more proud to call themselves Turkish Muslims than Macedonian Muslims. Another place with a large Muslim community is Labunista, located in the Struga region. In northern Macedonia, specifically in Debar, there are also many Muslim villages. Other Muslim enclaves in Macedonia include the regions of Dolna Reka, Rostusa, Tetovo, Torbešija, Plasnica, and Dolneni. These areas are primarily inhabited by Muslims of Turkish ethnicity. Macedonian Muslims of Albanian and Kosovan ethnicity can be found along Macedonia's borders with both countries. Currently, most Muslims in Macedonia work in agriculture. However, many also work abroad. In recent decades, many Macedonian Muslims have immigrated to countries in Western Europe and North America. Besides being known for their agricultural skills, Macedonian Muslims are also known for their expertise in painting, wood carving, and mosaic making. Macedonian Muslims also indirectly participate actively in the country's political activities. To voice their political aspirations, they formed a joint organization called the Macedonian Muslim Association. This political organization for Muslims in Macedonia was established in 1970 with government support. However, many suspect that this organization was deliberately created by the government to control the aspirations of the Muslim community there. The assimilation of Muslims into Albanian society has become a prominent political issue in Macedonia. In 1990, the head of the Macedonian Muslim organization, Riza Mehmedovski, sent an open letter to the head of the prosperous Democratic Party of Macedonia regarding this assimilation issue. In his letter, Mehmedovski accused the political party of using religion to promote the Albanianization movement within the Macedonian Muslim community. This assimilation issue intensified when, in 1995, ethnic Albanians who dominated the Macedonian Muslim Community Council declared Albanian as the official language of Muslims in Macedonia. This decision sparked protests from leaders of the Macedonian Muslim community. In the past, Islam in Macedonia had been on the decline. Many mosques were deserted, religious traditions were fading, and the younger generation was less concerned with their Islamic identity. However, the situation has changed significantly. The development of Islam in Macedonia is growing rapidly. Mosques are once again full, not only of older worshippers, but also of a younger generation thirsting for religious knowledge. More and more religious studies are being held, the Quran is being studied again, and the message of Islam is starting to resonate strongly within the community. Most encouraging is the growing interest in converting to Islam. Every year, the number of converts increases, creating a vibrant Islamic atmosphere. From large cities to small villages, news of people taking the Shahada is becoming more commonplace. In fact, Islamic identity, once considered weakened, is now a source of pride. Young Muslims proudly wear their Islamic symbols, are active in mosques, and are acting as the next generation of Islamic revival in this country. This change has surprised many. Once considered a weak spot, Islam is now emerging as a major force. With such rapid growth, many observers believe that it will soon become the largest religion in Macedonia. This revival is not just a mere number, but a concrete sign that God's promise is being fulfilled, that Islam will continue to grow and illuminate every corner of the globe, including the heart of Europe. Looking ahead, the signs of Islamic revival in Macedonia are increasingly clear. With the growing number of converts to Islam, a younger generation increasingly aware of their identity, and the revival of mosques, the future of Muslims in this country looks very bright. Imagine a few years from now, children studying the Quran today will grow into a generation of intelligent and Islamically imbued generations. Young Muslim men and women will emerge as leaders, educators, and community leaders, bringing new color to the nation's development. Islam will no longer be a marginalized minority, but a center of inspiration and hope for many. In the social sphere, Muslims will play an increasingly active role. They will not only focus on worship, but also build schools, hospitals, and social institutions that benefit the entire community, both Muslims and non-Muslims. This will lead to greater acceptance and respect for Islam. If this growth trend continues, observers believe that in the next few decades, Islam could become the largest religion in Macedonia. This is not due to coercion, but because the light of Islamic truth has touched people's hearts. This is clear evidence that Islam, once dimmed in this country, is now resurgent with unstoppable power. And in the future, Macedonia could become one of the centers of Islamic light in Europe, a place where Islamic values of peace, brotherhood, and justice shine brightly. North Macedonia, or the Republic of North Macedonia, is a country located on the Balkan Peninsula in southern Europe. It borders Serbia and Kosovo to the north, Albania to the west, Greece to the south, and Bulgaria to the east. Its capital is Skopje. Skopje is one of the oldest cities in the Balkan region, with a long history. The city has been inhabited for thousands of years and has been a center of ancient civilizations, including the Kingdom of Paya, the Kingdom of Dardania, and the Roman and Ottoman empires. Macedonia celebrated its independence on September 8, 1991, after a referendum on independence or remaining part of the Yugoslav Federation. The population of the Republic of North Macedonia is quite diverse. By the early 21st century, nearly two-thirds of the population identified themselves as Macedonian. Macedonia generally traces its ancestry to Slavic tribes who moved to the region between the 6th and 8th centuries AD. Albanians are the largest and most important minority in the Republic of North Macedonia. According to the 2002 census, they constitute about a quarter of the population. The Turkish minority is mostly spread across central and western North Macedonia, a legacy of 500 years of Ottoman rule. They were born and raised in Macedonia, but this family is distinctly Turkish, from their dress to their coffee taste. Muslims in North Macedonia represent less than a third of the country's total population, according to the 2021 census, making Islam the second most widely practiced religion in the country. Muslims in North Macedonia follow Sunni Islam of the Hanafi school. The majority of Muslims in the country are ethnic Albanians. The remainder are mostly Turks, Roma, Bosniaks, and Torbeš. Islam began to penetrate the Macedonian region with the Ottoman conquest in the 14th century AD. Macedonia, then part of the Serbian Empire, was conquered by the Ottoman Empire without resistance from the Serbian rulers, whose power was already weakening. From then on, Islam grew and flourished in Macedonia. It was during the Ottoman Empire's control of the Balkans that a large-scale process of Islamization took place. Many of Macedonia's ethnically Slavic natives converted from Orthodox Christianity to Islam. The Ottoman government's policy of differentiating Muslims from non-Muslims was a trigger for this conversion. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Islam flourished in Macedonia, with the construction of numerous mosques, madrasas, and other Islamic centers. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire in the Balkans led to a decline in the Muslim population. While the Muslim population in Macedonia was estimated at 27,000 before World War II, censuses conducted in subsequent years showed a sharp decline. In 1953, the Muslim population in Macedonia was estimated at only 1,591, rising to 3,000 in 1961 and 39.35 in 1961-1981. In 2010, the population reached 880,525,512, or 39.3%. Islam is predicted to become the largest religion in the country by 2050, with more than half of the country's population following it. Macedonia's Islamic heritage is rich, particularly in architecture and culture. Some notable historical relics include the Serena Mosque, or the Colored Mosque, with its elegant and intricate decorations. The Serena Jamija Mosque is one of the Ottoman-era historic buildings in North Macedonia. Built in 1495, the mosque is located near the Pina River, which divides the city of Tetovo in its center. The mosque's name, meaning Colored Mosque, derives from the decorations on its walls. It was later restored during the reign of Abdurrahman Pasha in the 19th century. Art history sources mention that tens of thousands of eggs were used during the mosque's renovation to ensure the longevity of the paintings and decorations and maintain their vitality. The Mustafa Paşachi Mosque, a historic Ottoman-era mosque that still stands strong and is one of the city's icons, stands on a plateau above the Old Market. Built in 1492 by Çoban Mustafa Pasha, the mosque is in the Constantinople architectural style. The dome is 16.3 meters in diameter. The minaret stands 47 meters high. A marble plaque above the front door contains Arabic texts. The remains of Mustafa Pasha's mother and daughter are buried in the Torbeš next to the mosque. The mosque also has a rose garden. The Turkish hammam was built in 1446 by a senior Ottoman official. This large building spans 900 square meters and is crowned by 13 domes. When operational, the hammam was used by both men and women. In 1948, the hammam was converted into a museum and eventually became the permanent home of the Macedonian National Gallery, focusing on contemporary art. Skopje's Old Market area. The Old Market of Skopje is the oldest and largest in the Balkans and is one of the city's landmarks. Bazaars are commonly found in Middle Eastern countries, North Africa, and Turkey. In Europe, markets can be found in countries that were once part of the Ottoman Empire. Shops selling Turkish handicrafts such as ceramics and carpets, souvenir shops, Turkish and Albanian restaurants, and the Basar Tuas Kopci coffee and tea shop, which has been rebuilt several times after being destroyed by fire by the Austrian army in the 17th century and by several earthquakes, are lined up here. Once home to more than 2,150 shops, 30 mosques, a hammam, and a sultan's palace. Only shops, coffee shops, restaurants, 3 hammams, and several mosques remain. Muslims in Macedonia are an integral part of the country's history and culture. Although a minority, they play a vital role in shaping the face of modern Macedonia. Through mosques, schools, and preserved traditions, Islam continues to grow and develop, making Macedonia one of the Balkan regions with a remarkable wealth of Islamic culture. That concludes our brief overview of North Macedonia. Dear friends of the Islamic faith, the Muslims currently living in Macedonia, and the Muslims of the Balkan Peninsula, including residents of the European regions of Turkey, Bulgaria, Romania, and Greece, as well as Albania, Serbia, Kosovo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, and Croatia, undoubtedly constitute part of the region's indigenous European population. The cultural and historical characteristics of Macedonian Muslims have contributed to their relatively harmonious position within Macedonian society. Although Macedonia is known for its secularism with a separation of state and religion, its constitution implicitly recognizes Islam as equal to other religions. The establishment of the Macedonian Muslim Association, also known as Dar al-Ifta, has been an important factor in helping to maintain the position of Islam and its legal manifestations and practices. This Islamic institution manages the affairs of Macedonian Muslims and defends their rights as Macedonian citizens. There are also a number of other cultural and educational organizations, as well as publishers and aid organizations, that focus on Muslim concerns and awareness raising. They also aim to celebrate Islamic culture, defend the legitimate constitutional rights of Muslims, and uphold those rights in accordance with Islamic education and spiritual upbringing. Several Muslim-majority political parties exist, and they have approximately 30 representatives in the 123-member parliament. Furthermore, several Islamic youth forums work extensively to bridge the interfaith divide and spread the values of tolerance among young people, both inside and outside Macedonia. Macedonia has approximately 600 mosques, 580 of which are open to worshippers regularly. According to reliable statistics, the number of Muslims who regularly practice their religion is approximately 230,000, and approximately 350,000 worshippers attend Friday prayers each week. Macedonian Muslims also benefit from the fact that Friday sermons and religious education in mosques and Islamic schools are conducted in Albanian, Turkish, Macedonian, Bosnian, and Roma. The main challenges facing Muslims in Macedonia seem to be concentrated primarily on one characteristic of the Muslim group. Because Macedonian Muslims are part of the indigenous population of Europe, their Islamic identity dates back more than 12 centuries. This is both a significant characteristic of Macedonian Muslims and a thorn in the side of anti-Islamists who continually seek to defame Islam, stigmatize Muslims, and oppose their existence through political, cultural, and media-oriented pressure groups. In this regard, it is worth noting that a number of extremist and new right-wing fascist politicians have launched campaigns in several Western countries, European countries, to spread fear of Islam among the general public. Examples include far-right leaders Marine Le Pen in France, Hans Christian Streich, Jörg Haider's successor in Austria, and Geert Wilders in the Netherlands, among others. This coincided with hostile statements made by Serbian political figures who aim to exploit every opportunity to demonize Islam and portray Muslims as a threat to the peace and stability of Europe, and this part of the continent in particular. Furthermore, another smear campaign, perhaps less radical but no less influential, sought to portray Islam as an anarchist ideology and portray Muslims as terrorists whose primary goal was the elimination of European values. The future of Macedonia's Muslims has been under constant pressure. Muslims and their institutions have been targeted since the end of the Balkan Wars in 1912. But the situation improved after the last Balkan War in 1991, when Macedonia officially became a multi-ethnic republic. Since then, Muslims have been able to form ethnically based political parties to participate in political action, contributing significantly to the formation of a political movement that has resulted in a number of parties with strong and distinctly Muslim sentiments. These parties represent the cultural and religious identity of Macedonian Muslims. These changes in the political landscape have certainly not contributed to an end to the flood of accusations leveled against Muslims in Macedonia. Furthermore, these changes failed to meet the legitimate demands of Muslims in Macedonia or prevent the numerous brutal attacks aimed at eliminating them. This tendency to plot and fabricate accusations haphazardly and without evidence fueled the insecurity of Muslims and prevented them from living their lives as legitimate citizens. The same approach was used by the Macedonian authorities, which led to the nationalization of individual and institutional property in 1991. Furthermore, the decision to return property to its owners reflected deliberate discrimination. The Macedonian Orthodox Church reclaimed all of its property, while the Macedonian Muslim Association was unable to reclaim it, based on different procedures and requirements imposed on both parties. The number of rejected Muslim applications was more than double the number granted for non-Muslims. Sometimes Muslim applications did not even reach the authorities. The Macedonian Muslim Association was never able to reclaim more than a small portion of its Waqf property, land, or even mosque, while the procedure for reclaiming all of the Macedonian Orthodox Church's property was quite straightforward. The same approach has been implemented through an extensive political pressure campaign to vilify Muslims, launched by prominent political figures within the Macedonian government. This is largely attributed to the extremist right-wing Macedonia Revolutionary Party, which won 55 seats in parliament and has several ministers in the government. Today, we witness a remarkable reality. Islam in Macedonia is no longer in a slump, but is growing rapidly. Muslim villages are now filled with new faces, converts who confidently declare the Shahada. They come from diverse backgrounds, yet united in one truth. There is no God but Allah. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. The call to prayer echoing from mosque minarets now bears witness to an Islamic resurgence that can no longer be stopped. This is proof that Allah's guidance continues to work, penetrating people's hearts and bringing the light of Islam to places where it was once dim. And Macedonia is now part of that great revival. Friends of the Islamic faith who are blessed by Allah, I hope this video is useful and see you in our next video.